What's up, fiends? Alucard back here today with a couple of movie reviews of a couple of skin flicks. Alright, today we're going to talk about a couple of skin flicks. Nope, not quite that kind of skin flicks. These are from Severin, and they're both pretty good, so let's get into it. First one we're going to talk about is Skin Deep. This movie is from 2004 and it's directed by Gabe Bartalos. Stars a few people we don't know and has a supporting role by Warwick Davis, who is probably best known as the Leprechaun or Willow. He's also in the Harry Potter movies. I think he's Professor Flitwick. And we also have a cameo by Forrest J. Ackerman. So the basic plot is this teen girl and her parents are on a road trip, and they get stuck in this little town and then get invited over to a meal by this like weird little family, and the family kills pretty much the whole family except for the girl, because one of the people in the family want to keep her. This movie is very Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Basket Case, if that's something you're into. Splash in a little bit of Mad Max too, and that's kind of what you get here. The characters, the killer family, they're all kind of goofy and but memorable. Warwick Davis plays a character called Plates, and he's called Plates because he uses plates as weapons. He hums them at them. It's pretty funny. And the other guy's name is Brain. He has a ginormous like brain, like head thing going over. Yeah, and it reminds me of The Head from MTV back in the early '90s. If anybody remembers that. And he's kind of the dorky, goofy, you know. You would think he'd be like a know-it-all, but he's not really. And then there's another character called the Surgeon General, who's very much like the Leatherfacey type character. He's like the balls to the wall, film killer, you know. But really cool makeup effects. The director, Gabe Bartalos, is normally a makeup effects guy, so you know the makeup effects are going to be pretty damn good in this movie, and they are. This movie has a real fast pace to it, almost too fast paced. It kind of just jumbles all together really quickly sometimes. Sometimes it just becomes kind of a jumbled mess, but it kind of works its way out and it kind of settles down again. Some of the acting in this movie is pretty awful. The granny character and the family, they're all completely horrible actors. The lead girl, whose name's Tina, she did okay, but the rest of them, forget it. Luckily they're only in the very beginning, so you don't really have to worry about them too much. And the other thing that might throw people off this movie, it is pretty bizarre. It's not your typical, well, plot-wise, it is kind of a typical Chainsaw Massacre type thing, but it's, I don't know, the characters and stuff are so weird and bizarre that it makes it a little bit better. Fun fact, there is a streaking scene in New York City where the actor really did streak in New York City and got arrested by the police. I don't know, I thought that was pretty funny. That is commitment to your art. Let's get to some of the good things about this movie. The creature designs and the special effects makeup, outstanding, to be expected. The cinematography, for the most part, I really enjoyed, except I do think there was a little bit too much slow-mo action, and they shot a lot with fisheye lenses when they really didn't need to. The actual all the effects were actually practical effects. There's no CG. Um, so I love that about the movie, and they're all, they're all good because he's a special effects makeup guy, so of course they're going to be pretty good. And of course, another highlight was Warwick Davis. He's always so good in everything. He really is. Um, he's very memorable as plates. Once you finish it, you just see him throwing these plates, and it's just, yeah, it's a good time. So overall, I'm going to give Skin Deep 3.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely worth a watch, especially if you're a fan of Chainsaw Massacre and or Basket Case and or both. All right, moving on to Skin Flick number 2. This one's also from Severin. It is from 1993. It is directed by Ivan Naj, who, if you recognize that name, he was Heidi Fleiss's boyfriend. Yeah, literally, yeah. Who knew he was a director, right? All right. Anyway, he directed this, Skinner, starring Ted Raimi, Ricky Lake, and Tracy Lords. All right, Skinner is about a psychopathic serial killer named Dennis Skinner, played by Ted Raimi, and this is the tale of him going on to another murder spree and being followed by a former victim who's hunting him, played by Tracy Lords. So he rolls into town and he finds a place to stay, and he stays at Ricky Lake's upstairs apartment, basically. This is this is 1993. So Ricky Lake was actually kind of adorable in this movie. She really played it cute, and I thought she was great. Tracy Lords is, she's Tracy Lords, but she's all sultry and all femme fatale with the hat and the everything else. Some people loved her performance, some people didn't. I'm kind of in the middle. It was okay. But the real star here was Ted Raimi. He kicked butt in this movie. He is so good, and I believe this was his first lead role, and maybe even his only lead role. I don't know. Yeah, Ted Raimi is fantastic in this way. He plays the psychopathic part so well. You really do think he's crazy. And so again, kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, his whole thing is he skins the bodies, and then he wears them, kind of like Leatherface. Except instead of being like Leatherface, where he's kind of his own character, he'll kind of portray the character that he wears. So he often kills hookers. So he'll put the hooker skin on, and he'll be like, hey, and it's great. There is a controversial part, of course. Why wouldn't there be? Actually, there's 2 controversial parts. The first part is in the unrated version, which this is, they show the full flaying scene of a hooker. I mean, he just goes, and it's pretty gross. I mean, it's watchable. It's not like it's but anyway. So in the R-rated version, they kind of cut this part up a bit, and during the whole scene, Dennis is kind of explaining how he is the way he is. So in the R-rated version, it's a mess, and you don't understand what's going on. But in the unrated version, thank you, Severin, for doing the unrated version. He explains the whole thing, and everything makes a lot more sense. Thank goodness. And the other offensive scene in the movie is that there's a part where he kills a black guy, and he puts on the skin, and he kind of walks around, acting all, kind of racist-y kind of stuff. It didn't bother me though, because He's freaking nuts. It makes perfect sense for him to do this and be offensive because he's offensive. I mean, I get why people don't like it. I totally understand. I totally get you. No problem. I thought it kind of added to the character because it made him even more unlikable. And maybe that's just me. I don't know. I see things differently. So a couple of things that I didn't like. There were a few editing issues. I don't know. The pacing was a little off sometimes. And, of course, depending on what version you watch, you may miss some of the plot. And the other part I didn't particularly care for was the ending. I'm not going to give away the ending, but it just kind of ends. And there's no, to me, I thought there wasn't really closure. Maybe I missed something, I don't know. But overall, it's a really good slasher type movie without it really being a slasher. I don't know, I guess it's kind of a slasher. But like I said, Ted Raimi's performance is outstanding. Definitely watch it for that. And Ricky Lake's great. Yeah, I thought Ivan Naj did a heck of a job directing this thing. You know, it's a little different. And yeah, so check it out. I give Skinner 4 out of 5. So let's do a bonus review, shall we? I'm going to talk about Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. This was a made-for-TV movie that premiered in October of 1980. This movie stars Charles Durning, Larry Drake, and Tanya Crowe. Larry Drake, of course, is probably best known in the horror world as Dr. Giggles. And Charles Durning has been on TV stuff forever. He appeared in literally everything. He was in Rescue Me, Evening Shade, all kinds of stuff. Real good actor. So the main story here is Bubba, played by Larry Drake, is a mentally challenged person who befriends this little girl. And in the beginning of the movie, the little girl gets attacked by a dog, and she is presumed dead. Bubba, who was with her at the time, gets her body and brings her back to her mother. So of course, they all think Bubba killed her, which he didn't, because we actually see what happens. And so Bubba goes on the run, and Charles Durning's character, who's a mailman, he gets a posse together to go hunt for Bubba. And Bubba goes and hides as a scarecrow out in the middle of this field. He's like hanging on the stick, the whole deal. You know, it's a great outfit. You know, he's with the bag over his head, the whole deal. So anyway, they hunt him down. They find him as a scarecrow, and they shoot him full of bullets, 21 bullets, I believe it was. So of course, Bubba dies. And as soon as Bubba dies, they hear over the radio, hey, the little girl survived. She's alive. She's going to be okay. So the rest of the movie, Charles Durning and the posse are kind of covering it up. So, you know, there's a trial, the whole deal. They get acquitted. They swear it was self-defense, blah, blah, blah. Bubba had a weapon. None of this is true. So the rest of the movie starts, members of the posse start dying in these crazy ways, like someone's killing them. Is it Bubba? Is it circumstance? Who knows? I really like this movie. It's one of the best TV movies I've seen, I've ever. Um, Larry Drake is always amazing, or was always amazing in every single role he ever did, at least from everything I've seen him in. Charles Durning is always super solid, always. And this is my first time really seeing Tanya Crow in anything. She's the little girl. I thought she did a great job. I think she was like 10 or 11 or something when she did this. Yeah, so the acting, especially for a TV movie, is really fantastic. There's also a role with played by Marlon Brando's sister. I forgot her first name, but she's Bubba's mama. She was really good too. And as soon as I found out that she was Marlon's sister, I looked at her face. I'm like, oh, yep, I can tell. That is her right there. I don't really have any negatives from this movie. I really don't. It's really good. I guess the pacing maybe. I mean, it is a TV movie, so that's kind of to be expected. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend it. Sometimes it is streaming on YouTube, so you may want to give it a look. Anyway, yeah, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. I'm gonna give this one 4.5 out of 5. Not quite perfect, but pretty darn close. So I hope you enjoyed my reviews today. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. Really helps me out. And don't forget to subscribe if you are new. And I will see all you guys next time. Remember, stay spooky. Peace.